Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas, and Hajai picks the trio to kick off 2025. The threesome of the... No, I'm kidding. Official pick time. UFC Vegas 101. We're going to go through every single fight. These are gun to your head. The cartel is waterboarding you, saying, give me a pick. Who do you think is going to win this fight if your life is on the line? If you're new to the channel, picks and bets are very different. These are picks. The bets will be coming. If you're a returning viewer to the channel, you know how this thing goes. It's going to be quick. We're going to rapid fire it. We're not going to try to waste too much of your time. But there is one thing I want to announce or maybe offer to you before we get into the video today. I'm interested in doing a little live stream, maybe every week. Maybe we'll test it out, just see how it goes. A live stream where there's a call-in show to where you, the viewers, can call in. You don't have to show your face on the screen. You can call in, just be audio. You could talk about the fights. You can give me your plays. You can ask me some questions. Make it interactive, because during the chat, there's always so many chats. I can't always read them, and sometimes they get lost in the chat. So I'm going to offer it to you. I think it'll be a fun thing to do, be interactive with you guys, and I think we could have a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, a little live stream to break down the card, we'll try to keep it to the card this week, or the card of the week, the topic. Let me know if you're interested down in the comments. A little live stream call-in show, and maybe we can make it happen. But without any further ado, you already know what we got to do. We scroll all the way to the bottom. We started with the first fight of the night, Aliev and Joe Solecki. So this fight's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to be Joe Solecki somehow snatching up some type of guillotine, maybe finding the back, getting a rear naked choke, probably in round one or early round two. But if he doesn't do that, he's probably going to accept guard, be on his back, and Aliev is going to plaster his chest to Joe Solecki's chest, maybe throw little rabbit punches in there, and he's going to win based off of minutes of top control. So I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to say Aliev probably wins this fight based off of top control, and Joe Solecki doesn't get the submission. But that's his path to victory, and maybe that's why he's taking this fight, as he thinks he can finish some type of submission on Aliev, who was in some bad positions against Rafael Alves, which was like 2 years ago. So maybe Aliev having the injury, I think it was an injury, why he was off for 2 years, but he's still very young, still improving. He probably should get the win here. He's a big favorite. He will be the gun to your head type of pick. Moving on, Fatima Kline, Victoria Dudakova. A couple big favorites to start the card. I got to go with Fatima Kline. I think she's got her outgunned here in pretty much every category. Cardio, striking's probably going to be very similar. I don't think Dudakova is the best striker. Physicality, Kline has fought at 125 before. She's pretty strong for the 115 weight class. Probably got better jiu-jitsu. So she's pretty much got her covered in every aspect. So it's going to be Fatima Kline. I could see a late finish from Kline in this one, just because Dudakova doesn't have the best gas tank. But, you know, maybe she's just good enough to survive. Maybe she goes in there with the intent to survive, like a lot of these fighters do when they are a big underdog. But we'll see. Fatima Kline is the pick nonetheless. Moving on. Magomed Gadzhiyasulov taking on Bruno Lopes. This fight's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be either Bruno Lopes inside the distance with some type of club and sub, or just a straight-up club. Or it's going to be Gadzhiyasulov just being the minute winner, winning the minutes from the outside at kicking range and just looking a little bit sharper. Or if he gets the takedowns, he's going to be in top control in Bruno Lopes's guard and winning minutes from the top. So I'm probably going to lean towards the latter and say Gadzhiyasulov wins based off of winning the minutes and probably wins a decision. He could crack Bruno Lopes. Lopes is a guy that likes to bring the fire. He's a little bit clumsy. He looks slower every time I see him out there, which is just not a good look. But he is dangerous. He does have power in his hands. He will go for it, and he will look for the submission on the ground. He's a pretty solid BJJ guy for a 205er. So he is definitely dangerous, and I think he could possibly win this fight. But if there's a gun to my head, I got to go with the OV. He'll be the pick. I would not bet Gadzhiyasulov in this spot, but he will be my pick. If anything, I think the value is probably more towards Bruno Lopes. But like I said, gun to your head. Who are you going to take in this one? I'm going to take the OV. Give me Gadzhiyasulov. Moving on. Ernesta Kareckaite, Nicole Caliari. I think on my early picks video, I was leaning towards Caliari, but I just can't do it, man. Just can't do it. Nicole Caliari has future OnlyFans model written all over. Okay, she is an undersized flyweight. She should be a strawweight. She has fought at strawweight before, but she's 5'3". She's taking on a 5'9" Ernesta who has a 9-inch reach advantage. It's just going to be too much to overcome. Okay, Caliari has won a good amount of her fights as of recently with her submissions, but I don't really see that happening here. I don't think Caliari is that good on the ground to where she's just going to take her down and submit her. I don't even know that she's going to have a ton of success with the takedowns. Kareckaite, after the first takedown that Barbosa got on her in her UFC debut, she was stuffing most of them. And a lot of that did have to do with Barbosa gassing out. And I don't know that Caliari is going to gas out as bad, but I don't think Caliari is going to have a ton of success with the takedowns. And then she's going to have to overcome that height and reach disadvantage. And I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. I think Kareckaite's volume is just way too good on the feet. And I think she probably wins this fight. Could see a late finish, but probably most likely a decision. Give me Ernesta Kareckaite to take the W. And we may see Nicole Caliari put up that OnlyFans link after the fight. Could happen, boys. Check out the IG. You know what I'm talking about. Moving on. Preston Parsons taking on Jacoby Smith. Jacoby Smith coming in here on short notice, but he's still a big favorite. And I can see why, because the guy's got everything that you would look for. I mean, the guy is a massive, I don't want to say massive because he's not like super tall or super long, but he's a brick house at 170. Just shredded up. Looked great on the Contender Series, getting whatever he wanted. D1, All-American wrestler. And he's probably going to be able to get takedowns on Preston Parsons. So what does Preston Parsons have to do? Preston Parsons got to be looking for some type of submissions. Is he going to get it? Probably not. But he's also going to have to look to survive, and he's going to have to look to take over as the fight goes on. If Jacoby Smith, he's going to have success in round 1. He's probably going to have success in the first half of round 2. And then what happens? I don't know that Jacoby has the best gas tank, but I think for a 3-round fight, he'll probably do enough within the first 2 rounds to get himself a W if he doesn't finish Preston Parsons, which is also a possibility. So give me Jacoby Smith for the official pick. I think he probably gets this one done. But Preston Parsons, can never count him out. He's a big dog here. He's a big dog. I don't think he picks up a win, though. Jacoby Smith it is. Moving on. Thiago Moises taking on Trey Ogden. Very weird one for me because they're pretty similar fighters. I think Trey Ogden knows how to put it together a little bit more than Thiago Moises, who has been in the UFC for a while, still very young. But there's just sometimes in his fights where I'm like, you just got to do a little bit more. And a lot of times when he's not doing enough, he's just not a lot of stuff that's going his way. And he kind of has to figure out, okay, how can I make this go my way? And he doesn't have an answer. So if Trey Ogden comes in here and does what he does, comes with a good game plan, jab and low kick, get some takedowns, get some top control, then what does Thiago Moises do? Because is he a better striker than Trey Ogden? Maybe, but probably not by that much. And is he a better grappler than Trey Ogden? Maybe, but probably not by that much. And if Trey Ogden is minding his P's and Q's and he's doing a little bit more than Thiago Moises throughout the fight, then Trey Ogden can win this fight. And I think he probably does go in there and beat Thiago Moises. But Thiago Moises only losing to some pretty solid competition. And is Trey Ogden solid competition? We're going to find out. But I am going to take Trey Ogden to win this fight. He will be my official pick. There's a dog for you. Trey Ogden getting it done. Moving on. Marco Tulio taking on Ihor Potieria. I'm not huge on Marco Tulio, to be honest. I think I bet on him in both of his Contender Series fights. Both cashed. He's 2-0 on Contender Series, which is cool. But I never really saw too much where I'm like, this guy's going to be a problem. Now, he's decent everywhere. I would say he's got solid stand-up, solid leg kicks, nice little right hand, but he's not super high volume, and he can get caught looking a little bit and just not doing too much. Ihor Potieria, on the other hand, guy's a wild card. Okay, he really doesn't offer too much after the first 7.5 minutes. And does he go out there and starch Tulio in the first 7.5 minutes? Probably not, because I think Tulio is pretty durable. I think even if he does get hurt, he'll have the recoverability to clinch him up, look for a takedown, maybe get it on Ihor. So it's going to be an uphill battle for Ihor in this one, but I don't think Ihor is some guy that Tulio should just go in there and roll over. I think he can piece him up a little bit, maybe get a late second, third round finish. Maybe he goes to a decision and Tulio gets his hand raised. But overall, I think Tulio will probably win the minutes here. And if he makes it to the scorecards, he's going to win the fight. But he could also find a finish in this one. I think his durability is just a little bit better there. So I'll take Tulio for the official pick. But Ihor can make it look interesting for the first 7.5 minutes from what my calculations would say. He can make it look interesting, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Give me Tulio to get it done. Jose Johnson taking on Felipe Bunes. Or Bunes. Not sure what it is, but Bunes. Maybe it's Bunes. It sounds a little bit better. I think Bunes has a pretty solid chance to win this one. I'll tell you why. His only loss in the UFC is Joshua Van. That's his only fight. He is older, which I do not like, but he has had a long career of facing pretty solid competition. You know, I think he's 13-7 or something like that on his official record, which is not good. But his losses are to guys in ACA, ACB, a bunch of Russians that are just better than him. And I respect the hell out of anybody that's not from Russia, that flies over to fight in Russia. Like, you have no reason to do that. Nate Landwehr is one of those guys. Okay, he's one of those guys that'll go over to Russia and just get it done. Just get it done. And Bunes got it done a few times, but he also took his L's in Russia as well. Jose Johnson ain't that guy. Okay, Jose Johnson got into the UFC from a very close fight against a guy named Jack Cartwright. Not a great fighter. Very close fight where he got taken down a ton of times. I think it was over 6. And then he comes in the UFC and he gets submitted by Damon Blackshear, Twister, easy. Then he faces Chad and Hellinger. And Hellinger ain't very good. Like, he's a veteran, but he's not very good with his skills. He's short, he's old. And Jose Johnson was looking okay. He was looking decent, but Chad and Hellinger was having its moments. And if it wasn't for that third round tap out, which was kind of just a Hail Mary rear naked choke, those scorecards might have been a little bit interesting. And then Almabayev, you're going to get out grappled by Almabayev. The thing is, with Jose Johnson, his takedown defense is just not there. And he's looking to play off his back a lot of times. And I think Bunes can get takedowns on Jose Johnson. Now, I'm not a huge believer in Bunes's striking, but I don't know that he needs it. I think he just needs to get takedowns. I think his jiu-jitsu is solid. He's got a ton of submissions on his record. I think he could submit Jose Johnson on the ground. But either way, I think he can just wear on Jose Johnson by getting the fight to the ground. And Jose's going to look for the scrambles. He's going to look for those triangle chokes with his long limbs. But I think Bunes is going to be good enough to deal with that. So give me Felipe Bunes to get this one done. Plus 140, 154 underdog for you right there. Taking a dog there on Felipe Bunes. I'll take him for the official pick as well. Moving on. Punahele Soriano taking on Uros Medic. And this is a weird one for me because I think Puna is a wild card. I think he's a wild card because is he going to wrestle? And is his wrestling going to be good enough to take down Medic and hold him there? I don't know. So I don't know that I'm going to be betting this fight from a moneyline perspective because I think Uros Medic should win this fight. But he's a minus 205 favorite. And we're talking picks, so I'm going to take Uros Medic because I think he's the better striker. I think he's a much better striker. Much better striker. Let me just tell you that. He's a much better striker than Puna. Puna might have power, but his striking is not that good. Uros is a X155er. Puna is an X185er. If that wasn't the case, and they were just normal welterweights, I'd probably feel comfortable with Uros Medic to get this one done. But there may be just some size differential that you can't overcome with the wrestling of Puna. Because Puna can get takedowns on Uros, but can he keep it up for 3 rounds? And can Medic get back up to his feet? I think he'll be able to get up to his feet for the first round and a half. And that might be enough. Maybe he just sparks him in round 1 or round 2, which I kind of see happening. I think Uros probably finds a KO in round 1 or 2. But if he doesn't, and Puna gets that top control, Puna's pretty aggressive with his ground and pound. He stays active, wears on you. That's going to wear on Medic, so that's what kind of scares me off of Medic at minus 205. But either way, I think Uros Medic wins this fight. So I'll take Uros Medic for the pick, and we're just going to hope that he's just that good of a striker. He's that much better than Puna. He's able to stuff the wrestling, and he gets this one done. Moving on. Christian Rodriguez, Austin Bashi. I watched an interview with Austin Bashi today, and I think the guy is very mature for his age. I think he's 23. I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's had a long upbringing within combat sports, which is nice to see. Still undefeated. He looked great on the Contender Series. I think he's going to beat Christian Rodriguez for the mere fact that his pace is very tough to deal with. And a lot of times when Christian Rodriguez is beating these prospects, he's either being a weight bully at 135 where he's missing weight and he's bigger than him, or at 145, Isaac Dogarian is just straight up death gassing in second half of round 2 into round 3. I don't think Bashi's going to death gas, and he is a 145er who could maybe be a 135er, but either way, I think he's going to be a little bit more physical than C-Rod in there. I think C-Rod does have a ton of experience dealing with this type of fighter, but I don't know that's going to be enough because he's dealt with it. He's been defensive. He's not getting finished by these guys like a Dogarian or a JSP or even a Raul Rosas Jr., but he's still losing. Like, he's surviving, but he's losing those rounds and then rallying towards the end. And I think Bashi's just not gonna gas like that. Like, I think his pace is really solid. And I don't think his stand-up is that great. And if anything, I think if he doesn't have success with the wrestling, then it could get interesting. But I think he's going to have success with it because C-Rod doesn't have the best takedown defense. Maybe he'll be able to shuck him off towards the end of the fight, but I think Bashi will probably still do enough. I'm going to take Bashi for the official pick. I think the line is still a little bit out there for a guy making his UFC debut, but I think Bashi probably gets this one done by decision, just winning the first couple rounds, and then maybe he wins the third. Maybe it's a 30-27, but I think it's probably going to be a 29-28 for Austin Bashi. Moving on. Chris Curtis taking on Roman Kopylov. Well, I said I was going to fly through these. I'm starting to yap. Chris Curtis, Roman Kopylov. This fight's going to go one of 3 ways. Way number 1, it's Roman Kopylov round 1 or 2 KO. Way number 2, it's going to be Chris Curtis rounds 2 or 3 KO. And way number 3, it's going to be a close decision. I'm tending to lean towards the third. Kopylov can knock out Chris Curtis. He has the abilities, but Chris Curtis has been very durable. Chris Curtis could definitely knock out Roman Kopylov later in the fight because Kopylov, I don't think, has the best gas tank, and those body shots from Chris Curtis is just going to deplete that gas tank even further, and I don't think Kopylov's going to have the ability to fall back on some wrestling. But I think it probably goes to a decision, and then it's going to be, did Chris Curtis turn up the volume in round 2 to do enough? Did he win round 2 and 3? Because it's probably going to be Kopylov in round 1. So it's a very tough fight to call for me. I'm going to lean with Kopylov for the official pick, just thinking that he has enough in the tank in round 1 and 2, and then has enough to not get finished. And I think Chris Curtis is a great boxer, but he is I don't want to say very old. He's getting older, and I think there could be a start to the decline. That's why I am going to take the younger guy in Kopylov, who is a very good kickboxer, who has great lateral movement, who has Sambo in his back pocket. So I think Kopylov probably wins this fight, but I do think it's probably going to be a very close decision that could go either way, and probably not one that I would be super confident laying the chalk on Kopylov. But he will be the official pick either way. Cesar Almeida taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan. Don't like the fight. Alhassan either nukes him in the first or decides to wrestle. We don't know which one he's going to try to go for, so I don't really like it from a betting or a pick perspective in that one. Cesar Almeida is going to be the sharper striker, but his takedown defense is not great when later in the fight or out in the open. His cage wrestling is okay, but out in the open, if he gets taken down, he can't get back up. You just can't get back up, and you got a fire hydrant like Abdul laying on you, you ain't getting back up. So Cesar, better striker, sharper, maybe not as dangerous, but he knows how to win fights on the feet. And I don't really trust Alhassan to, wrestle him up for 3 rounds. Could nuke him in the first. It's always a possibility with that guy, but I just don't really see it happening. I'll take Cesar Almeida for the official pick. Not a super confident one either, but I'll take it. Santiago Ponzinibbio, Carlson Harris. So I was going to look at maybe playing Santiago as a bet, but I just don't think I can get there. Just watching his last few fights, he doesn't react too well with getting hit. But on the other hand, I don't think Carlson Harris is good. I just don't. Like, he's a solid grappler when the fight hits the ground. He loves the Darce choke, and the Anaconda chokes, but the guy's striking is just terrible to me. Like, I don't understand how you can throw a punch like this and, like, be in the UFC. Like, he's throwing punches like this. And he winds up on him, too. Like, it's so telegraphed that if you faced a good striker, like, or a guy that, like, has real technical striking that could counter-strike really well, you'd get pieced up. I don't think he's faced that yet. Ponzi's not that guy. I don't think he's a great counter-striker, and I think Ponzi's probably going to be looking to land some big right hands himself, and it could be, who has the better chin in this spot, and I don't know, because Ponzi doesn't react too well to shots anymore. He slips all over the place. Carlson Harris just got knocked out. Yes, it was Chaos Williams, but, striking's just not good. I just don't. He's long, but then he, like, finds himself in the pocket, and he's in these, like, clinch scenarios where he's just throwing, like, blind uppercuts and blind hooks. I'm like, what are you doing? And I don't think he's going to have a lot of success grappling here. I don't think he's going to be able to get takedowns on Ponzi. Ponzi's not a guy that gets taken down very, very often. He's kind of built his career off of stuffing takedowns and getting into brawls. And so I think it's going to come down to who has the better chin, which I guess I'll take Ponzi. Ponzi's the official pick this week. I hate the co-main event. I hate these fights where it's just 2 old guys. And, it's lined pretty closely. I think it should be lined pretty closely. It's Ponzinibbio. He'll be the official pick. Moving on. Mackenzie Dern taking on Amanda Ribas. I don't want to say I have a change of heart on this one, but once I dove into it a little bit more, I'm kind of starting to think, Dern has a better chance than a lot of people are giving her, just because Ribas, they're both 2-3 in their last 5. And, Ribas, she's taking her losses at flyweight for the most part. But who are her wins? Luana Pinheiro at 115. Luana Pinheiro was piecing her up for the first 2 rounds. Like, bad. Like, bad. I don't think Ribas has the best striking, but she is a dog, and she will stand in there. Her durability does give me some worries, but I don't know that it's going to be exploited with Dern. Like, Dern's striking has improved a little bit. Against Lupi Godinez, you can tell, like, when she's fresh, her technique is decent. She pumps a nice little jab. She pumps a nice little 1-2. But as she gets tired, as, the pressure starts to come forward, it's not quite there. I don't know that she could really put it all together in the course of 5 rounds to pick up a victory without getting a finish. I think Ribas probably wins this fight by a decision, but Ribas isn't like a world beater. She's not a world beater. She has a good, solid overall game, but just a fight ago, she was supposed to get finished by Rose Namajunas. Like, Rose Namajunas inside the distance was chalk. Like, I don't even think it was plus money. If anything, it was even money. Like, Rose was supposed to go in there and finish her, and she didn't. Like, that showed a little bit from Ribas, but she was supposed to get pretty much steamrolled by Rose Namajunas. Now she's coming in here against Mackenzie Dern. Very different opponent, but she's a 2-1 favorite. It's a little bit weird. Ribas will still be the pick for me. I just think she's probably a little bit better over the course of a 5-round fight. Great cardio. And as the fight goes on, her more technical striking will play a factor, and she'll probably be able to rack up a ton of volume, stuff takedowns, do what she needs to do. So Amanda Ribas is the official pick for the main event, and that'll do it for the official picks video. I said I was going to keep it short. I guess I may have lied. Sorry. But either way, if you enjoyed, like the video for me, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you want that live stream in the comments, and let me know your picks in the comments as well this weekend. Appreciate you for watching. Until next time, hey, job picks.